Alright, good morning. Shalom, everybody. I am reading chapter 4 of Secret on the Tarmac. And just a little pointer pro tip. This long sleeve shirt is part of my keeping cool in the hot summer. Yes, a long sleeve shirt. So it's polyester, and it's one of them exercise shirts. I think it's one of them just my size, like you get at Walmart. But you get it wet in the sprinkler, and as long as there's at least a little bit of a breeze, you're fine. Stay in the shade, wear your hat. I always wear a bandana under my hat to keep from sweating on my hat, and actually helps the sweat from getting into my eyes. And then, of course, I keep my hair tied up. But if I get too hot, I go cool off of the sprinkler, and this is better than cotton. Cotton kind of sticks to you, like it doesn't feel too comfortable when it's wet, and I don't like to chafe. So yeah, anyway, so pro tip. All right, chapter 4, Secret on the Tarmac. If you guys had already read or listened to me read the preface in chapters 1, 2, and 3, you kind of know where we're at in the story. They're fixing to pounce on fixing to surprise Loretta Lynch with a question at the what is it called, meeting, the press conference that she's fixing to give. So their time is limited, and they're trying to figure out what to do, because they know that Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton met because of what Christopher Stein's anonymous source, he calls Jay, because of what he told him. And Christopher Stein went back, and his shift was just ended. He was just fixing to get in the car. His phone rings. He talks to Jay for a few minutes, goes back in the building and says, yeah, we might want to do something about this. So anyway, this is part of chapter 4. They have somebody in the press conference that's there to ask questions of Loretta Lynch and all that. And basically, she was in Phoenix to get talking with the local leaders about crime or something, community stuff. Sorry, chop it off my head, but you don't want to see me anyway. Anyway, I don't want to run out of space on my phone, and this video is going to take a while to upload anyway. So let me get on to chapter 4. So, like I said, if you guys had listened to the other ones, you'll know where we're at. But also, this is, I don't know, 15 or 20 bucks. I can't remember how much. Get you a copy. Get 2 copies, one for yourself and one to give to a friend. All right, chapter 4, the plan. My co-anchor Dan knew it was happening. He now knew about the secret meeting, and he knew I was devising a plan to break the story. As Dan watched every bit of this unfold, he took a gulp from his generic brand Mountain Dew, walked to Chris's office, leaned his head in the doorway, raised his eyebrows, and put his hand in the air like a student waiting to be called upon in class. He said, "Hey, isn't Katie supposed to be live in our midday show after Lynch's news conference at Phoenix PD, Police Department?" Boom. I think I later bought Dan a 12-pack of that soda. At that moment, our plan was solidified and set a chain of newsroom events in motion. So Katie, that's the name of the person that was at the press conference. I told Chris and Tyson we couldn't just ask Loretta Lynch a question. We had to get a reaction by asking for an explanation. This meant we had to make sure she knew that we knew the meeting occurred. As Tyson and I discussed the plan to surprise the Attorney General with pointed questions about the meeting, Chris listened and messed with his hands as if he was washing them at a sink. Seriously, it looked as though he had just put lotion on his hands, the way he kept moving them, weaving his fingers across the palm and grasping his fingers like he was about to pop his knuckles. but he never popped his knuckles. I guess it was like a nervous tick while digesting the details. I was ready to go on air at that moment, but my experience reminded me that wasn't going to happen. Chris and Tyson wouldn't allow it either. The planning unfolded like an episode of the A-Team TV show where the characters sat around amid a cloud of cigar smoke saying, "I love it when a plan comes together." Yeah, yep. You got to see the A-Team if you haven't never seen the A-Team. Watch an episode or something. But the surprise would never happen because Loretta Lynch was about to be tipped off that I was planning to tell the world about her secret meeting. Chris started taking long, silent, and thoughtful pauses. Tyson jumped in to reiterate the timing. A split second later, I reminded them we had to notify reporter Katie. Chris was still listening intently. He is processing the information, thinking about the next steps, the ramifications, his concerns, and ultimately if he feels comfortable with it. Every newsroom boss faces a story that has to pass the smell test. If it just doesn't smell right, something must be wrong with it. Basically, it's making an informed decision after going with your gut. We were roughly an hour from the moment Loretta Lynch was set to have a news conference. So an hour away, that's not a lot of time. As for the non-question to the Attorney General, it was simple. Chris slid his chair back over to his desk, grabbed the office phone on his desk that was tethered to the wall by a long phone cord. Man, that's old school. He moved it across that large L-shaped desk and placed it at the edge and asked Tyson for reporter Katie's number and hit the speaker button for all of us to hear. Katie had no idea what was coming her way. She immediately answered, "Hey." Chris told her via speakerphone the three of us were gathered in his office with the door closed and needed to alert her to something that could not be discussed publicly. She said, "Sure, what's up?" I immediately chimed in and explained to her that Loretta Lynch had a secret meeting on the tarmac the day before, that the Attorney General and the former president didn't want anyone to know about it, and that she was going to throw a grenade of a question during the news conference to the Attorney General. As reporter Katie was digesting the information in silence, Tyson told her, "It can't just be a question." I responded as Chris sat with interest and focused on a pencil that was stuck in the ceiling tiles. Seriously, there were at least 5 pencils stuck in the ceiling tiles in his office. Chris listened to it all. I felt like he was prepared to jump in at any second and throw a flag on our play like a referee blowing the whistle to stop a play. He then looked back down to the ground silently. I took that as a sign of approval, and we continued. It was then I told reporter Katie we could not ask Loretta Lynch if she met with Bill Clinton. I explained we had to ask Loretta Lynch to tell us about her meeting with Bill Clinton. We didn't want her to say she had no comment, blow it off, or simply say it was nothing. We wanted her to be aware we knew the information and we were not giving her an easy out. Katie was prepared and excited. However, like any good reporter, she was concerned about others getting in on the scoop, and in this realm, her question could lead to all the beans being spilled during a news conference. We were now less than an hour away from the scheduled news conference. Tyson told reporter Katie to keep the information quiet. We told her not to text anyone about our information or post anything on social media. Katie waited in silence and mentally prepared for the comment she would make to the Attorney General. So that was chapter 4. I'm going to go ahead and do chapter 5, but in a separate video. So yeah, so I'll stop the video right now.